Hey guys, Phil here from Hookturn, and I'm just doing another video. It's more so aimed at Advanced Forms Pro users, but it could apply to ACF users in general if that may come across a similar kind of issue. And basically, it comes about because a customer wrote to me early today, and just they're having this issue where they were using the Advanced Custom Fields load field hook. Was it load field? Yeah, so load field, so not Advanced Forms Pro, custom fields. So if we go to documentation, load field, yeah, so here we go. So with this load field hook here, okay, so it allows you to basically dynamically set the choice. Well, yeah, you can dynamically do it, or you can just hard code them. You can fix the choices available for a field that is choice based. All right. So I had this customer that wrote to me was basically using load field to run a WP query or inside the load field handler. They were running a WP query, looping through the query and assigning those posts to the possible choices. Okay. And we're just finding there were some issues on the edit screen, which I'm going to highlight in a sec. So before I move on from there, some of you who really are familiar with ACF will know that there's a post object select field, and so perhaps that's more fitting. And I agree, if you're just selecting posts, it makes a lot of sense. But I guess there are use cases for injecting posts as options in various choice fields. So in this example, I'm going to use a radio button field, okay, and we're just basically going to make all posts on the site. So if we have a quick look here, there's just a bunch of posts here. These ones I'll get rid of because they were just some tests from before. All right, so there are a list of posts here, and they're going to appear in our form in this post select field. So what I'll do is I'll just basically allow this WP query approach here. And if I go ahead and reload this page, we'll see that we get the options. Okay, so those options are coming through. But what's really interesting is on the edit screen, when I go and edit the form, right now we can see the forms, or sorry, the field group and its fields attached to this form. But if I go and reload with that hook in place, they disappear. And you'll see there's a little thing popping up here. That's my console telling me that, hey, there are some things to look at, right? Some warnings or errors. And in this case, I can see that there's this trying to access array offset on value of type bool. And then further down, it's this trying to access array offset type bool again, and they're different files, but basically it's the same error. And if I go and look at this error, for example, so essentially it's trying to access the key array the key on a form array, but what it's got there is a Boolean, and that means that AF get form in this context has returned false, and there's no guard in there protecting against it. That's why we're seeing an error. But basically, what we're expecting there is the post variable to have on the edit screen. We're expecting it to have the actual form post, right? The post that drives the form. But in this case, it's being changed to one of these queried posts, and they don't have the correct post type. Like they're not they're not an AF underscore form post type, and so the AF get form function. You know what? Let's not dive into it. But basically, there's a check in there that says, "Hey, if you're not the right post type, return false," and that's what we're ending up with there. Now, what was really interesting to me is that the reset post data and whatnot didn't work. Like it didn't actually revert it. And I tried it using both the reset post data method on the query itself and the WP reset post data, and neither of those fixed the issue, which is very interesting. So basically the solution is to take a slightly different approach, and you can do it a couple of ways, I think. So the way I would suggest is, instead of using a WP query, I would just use get posts. Okay, so I would go like this: posts equals get posts. Okay, take those same args, because if you're familiar with this, you'll know that underneath the get posts, there is a WP query running, but the cause of our problem is actually this loop, right? So it's within this loop. So, but if you just use a get posts, and then you can say for each posts as, post, all right, and then we'll grab this here and we will go like that. And we won't say get the ID, we will say post ID. We'll use get the title and I'll just pass post to it just because that will allow filters and whatnot to run on it. But let's now hide this block here. All right, so now if I go and view the form on the front end, reload, we'll see the field's still populating. I'm going to go clear my error log just in case so we can see anything new. Now on the edit screen, I'll reload and we'll see that the fields now reappear and there are no issues. So simply put, if you are seeing warnings like that and you're using ACF's load field and you've got a WP query inside there, that's going to be part of, well, that's a likely cause of the issue. This might be isolated to Advanced Forms Pro, but it could affect anything else that's using that global post object. So always wise to use get posts. And if you were to dive into ACF Core, you'd see specifically the post object field, you would see that internally that's using get posts as well too. It's not running a WP query and looping through anything. It's just using get posts. So if you come across this issue, try using get posts and hopefully that will solve your problems.